probably the first thing that you think of because you think of God like a parent. What do, parents desire? Obedience, that you to honor them, to live good, holy Catholic lives. But I feel like that's not deep enough. I don't know if that's enough. Although there is a priest locally here who in one of his homilies, it was a daily mass homily, he looked at all the kids and he's just like, what do your parents want from you? He made it an interactive experience and all the kids are like, obedience, this, that, the other, loving my brothers and sisters, not hitting my siblings. And he's like, yes, these are all good. What they want is for you to get married and have good, holy Catholic children.
Oh, that's what he said?
I thought it was hilarious.
Was that Dr. McDaniel?
Father McDaniel? No, that was Father Saad at Our Lady of Lebanon.
Oh, okay.
So,
and a few of them become priests and nuns.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Well, that's the thing is that you get it. You get more priests and nuns, the more kids, more families.
So, all right. Well, let's go to the first question that we have, and I have some parts of this highlighted in yellow. Hopefully, this will show up on the screen. And it says whether there is will in God. Okay, so I guess this is kind of fundamental because if we talk about God's will, Thomas says, well, we probably ought to ask in the first place, does he even have a will? So how do we even know that God has a will? What's and what is a will? I guess that would be pretty foundational as well.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were to say something like, "Gosh, that's a very willful child," or I'm exercising my will. Well, what does that mean? I mean, what is it? What's a will? Yeah, any idea?
That's a great question. I don't know. I was saying that was a great question.
Well, yeah, and anybody out there who wants to jump in can do that, but
maybe it's something to be desired, perhaps.
Okay, so a will is something. So we desire a will, or is the will the part of us that desires?
I'd say probably the latter.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Because it's not like, oh, I want to have a will.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's true. That's
okay.
True.
So yeah, you're exactly right. The short definition of will, not only in God but in any creature, is intellectual desire. Okay. So that means that only creatures, any beings with intellect automatically have will. Okay. So your pet goldfish does not have will. An earthworm does not have will. Dogs don't have will. So you have to have intellect to have will. So that's the definition of God is intellect. So therefore, he has will. And he has will. So the very fact that he has intellect means he has will.
Yeah, Adrian commented, by the way, this is from a little while back. My other live stream went down, so I've been highly distracted. I'm so sorry.
To watch us?
No, I hope so. I literally, one YouTube went down and then the other one went down after I fixed the first one. I was like, please stop falling apart on me. I don't even know why, but Adrian commented, what is the purpose of life? To know, to love, and to serve God in this life in order to be happy with him in the next. And I think that was what the answer to the Baltimore Catechism. Sounds very Baltimore Catechism.
Yeah, it really does. So, okay, here's the example I like to use. I'll probably used this in this program before, but if you had your pet dog here with you, do you have a pet dog, William?
Yeah, we have a puppy.
Okay. What's his name?
Gus.
Okay,
that's an adorable name.
Gus was here and we put a donut on the table here, right? Let's just say a Bavarian cream-filled donut, right? Gus would look at it and you would look at it, okay? You and Gus would both have a draw towards that donut. I'm trusting, right?
Yeah.
And in one regard, it'd be the same thing. It'd be through the sensitive appetite, right? You would desire it from your sheer sensitive appetite, and he would too.
Oh yeah.
All right. But the difference with you is that you can know the essence of donutness. Okay.
Yes.
Gus wouldn't know donutness, right?
Right.
So that's where you would have
just knows deliciousness.
Yeah.
He's like, I know that's gonna taste good.
Yeah. So I mean, but Gus doesn't know that either because Gus can't process these thoughts, right? Gus just is like, I'm gonna get that. Right. So you have a will because you have an intellect. Okay. So you can intellectually desire it and sensitively desire it at the same time.
Right.
And your intellect also can come in and say, you know what? I don't think I need that donut, right? So you can make a decision not to eat it, right?
I mean, Gus never makes that decision, but okay, I don't know.
Yeah, hypothetically,
somebody
saying that they make that decision. Okay, so that's will. So God. So now we've established that God is his intellect, he is his will, and so he has a will. All right. So you want to move on? Okay.
Sure.
All right. So now the next question, interestingly, that Thomas asks is whether God wills things apart from himself. Okay, so he is himself and the perfect, blessed Trinity and all the interaction between the three persons of the Trinity and all that. And so does he go outside of the Trinity and will things outside into the world? Okay, so what do you think of that?
I think we used all of our smarticles up in the last 2 weeks, Dave.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't think
kinda
we have
true.
anything
Nothing left, right? Okay,
I
so
mean, I would think so,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm not sure.
Yeah, because how could anything even happen? Like for example, if I say I want to unite myself to the will of God, well, that means that there's some like kind of there's some relationship between me and God in regard to His will, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So it says here, God wills not only himself, but other things apart from himself. This is clear from the comparison which we made above. For natural things have a natural inclination not only toward their own proper good, to acquire it if not possessed, and if possessed to rest therein, but also to spread abroad their own good amongst others as far as possible. Hence, we see that every agent, insofar as it is perfect and in act, produces its like. It pertains, therefore, to the nature of the will to communicate as far as possible to others the good possessed. So if you want to like a quick answer, and I talked to Adrian on Catholic Drive Time this morning, it's like, what does God want? He wants to communicate his goodness. Okay?
Yeah.
So that would be the short answer. So God is like absolute perfect goodness. And how does he communicate his goodness? Well, he makes a world. He gives us intellect and will. He allows us to participate. He gives us the Blessed Mother. And so it's just like this like nonstop like gift giving that God participates in. Okay, does that make sense?
For the most part, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so God wants to communicate his goodness. And we do the same thing. I even mentioned on Catholic Drive Time this morning how Toya during Share-a-thons talks about getting the warm fuzzies. Okay, so why do we get the warm fuzzies? And you probably don't know what we're talking about.
No, I have no idea.
Toya likes to say that when you donate to Guadalupe Radio Network, you get the warm fuzzies. Because like
Yeah.
when you do something good, if maybe around Christmas time, and you're volunteering, at a homeless shelter or something, you get the warm fuzzies.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So why is that? Why is it in our very nature to feel good when we help somebody? Have you ever
That's a
like
good
gone up to
question.
somebody and asked them directions, and they're like, like they people love to help other people.
Yeah,
you know?
people love
true.
when you offer them
Unless you're
the
in New York,
opportunity.
then they'll just tell you.
or anywhere in the Northeast, and you're in their way, man, you are nothing. You are not even a human being.
Yeah, but go up to an average person, a decent person, and just say, hey, I'm looking for this or that, and people just want
They want to be helpful, yeah.
Yeah, they want to be helpful. It's kind of built into us, and so that's kind of a little bit of a representation of like how we mirror God in that we want to communicate our goodness. I mean, we want to be good friends. We want to love. We want to help those who need our help and that kind of thing. Okay, so all right. So God communicates his goodness. We communicate his goodness, and then he says, whatever God wills, he wills necessarily. Okay.
So whatever God does,
Like,
is it necessary?
is it like necessarily like it has to be?
Oh,
Does
no
it?
idea.
That's it. Okay, so let me read this part. In
Please.
willing an end, we do not necessarily will things that conduce to it unless they are such that the end cannot be attained without them. As we will to take food to preserve life, or to take ship in order to cross the sea. Okay, so God wills his own goodness necessarily, but he doesn't will everything necessarily. Okay, so like for example, if he said, I will that William will never tell another lie the rest of his life. Okay, if you will that necessarily, then you become a robot, right?
Right.
Because he's allowing that to not be the case.
Right. Because if that were the case, I wouldn't be able to choose whether I wanted to do that thing or
Gotcha.
not.
So he,
Yeah. Does that make sense?
yes.
So he does, but he does will of necessity some things, like the bird's going to build the nest, and the beaver's going to build the dam, and the fish are going to swim in the stream, and that kind of stuff. Okay, they don't have any free will, but things with free will are able to kind of thwart the will of God a little bit. Okay, so and then he goes on to this interesting question: is the will of God the cause of things? Okay, so.
Well, because.
Okay, so
wait, but what does it mean by cause of things?
Okay, so let me give you an example.
Please.
Okay, so Sissel is a bartender.
Yes.
Okay, at a restaurant. And
he's not making that up, by the way. That is actually real.
This is a real case scenario. Okay, so somebody comes up and says, "I'd like a margarita."
Okay.
Okay, so in your mind, you are now going to will that a margarita be made.
And I don't drop it.
Right. And
that's what I do every day.
And then you don't drop it, right? So you will, but then, okay, so it starts in your mind, and you're going to carry out your will by getting the lime juice and the tequila, and so you're gonna kind of do it. But it all started with you saying, "I will to make a margarita," right? So God doesn't have to like make the things physically. He doesn't have to say, "Oh, I think I'm going to build a tree."
Right.
I'm going to make a kangaroo, But just the very fact that he wills it happens.
It just happens, yeah.
It happens because he's pretty cool that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not how my margaritas happen. Can confirm.
But imagine if that was the case, where all like somebody says, "I'll take a margarita,"
he's like,
and there it is.
And my tips would be like,
I know.
so like she's instantaneous.
Everybody like, "Have you heard of the Sissel, the bartender,
like,
man? You just
drinks
mentioned
are going out like that."
You just mentioned that you want a margarita, and it's
like a margarita pop.
It's right there.
And there be none of my human imperfections on it either. Of like, I accidentally did a slightly under or over pour of tequila or something. You know?
I know. Can I do a favor and ask James? Would you mind getting me a water? Because I'm getting. I had to.
I meant to have waters in here for you too.
I'm
the sorry.
Waters? I mean,
See, Dave, you
guys
leave
want
for
one also?
yeah, sure. You leave for a couple weeks, Dave, and we have got nothing.
I know, no waters. I mean, I'm here parched. I can hardly talk. All right, so hopefully everybody is following along as we talk about the will of God, and and I've taught this a number of times to students, and so many of you are kind of reading this for the first time, and so it's a little bit more challenging. But are we ready to move on? Okay,
yes.
So you got it? Okay, so
I like margarita examples, by the way. If we can continue teaching the Summa through margarita examples.
All right, any other comments? Anybody?
Let me just talk to a couple people really quickly. Lori is watching on Facebook, and she was letting me know that the Facebook stream has been perfect. No, besides, the YouTube one's going on and off here.
Okay,
But we're still holding strong right now on YouTube, and Forrest joined us.
Oh, all right. Forrest, how you doing? Forrest has been around for forever,
I know.
Hasn't he?
We love Forrest. So, and then Adrian says, Dave, have you tried photosynthesis?
Have I tried it? Like,
yes.
What does that mean?
I'm going to ask him to clarify that.
I don't know. I don't know what I try. I try breathing as a result of the process of photosynthesis, but I can't photosynthesize because try as I may, it's not in my nature to photosynthesize, right? It's pretty cool though. I think I've said before, when I first learned about the photosynthesis process, and to this day, I am absolutely fascinated by trees. I mean, there are trees like everywhere, and I notice like all of them. I just find them fascinating creatures because of what they do, and they're so like simple and kind of plain looking, but they're very interesting creatures. They do a lot of good. They serve humanity.
Instead of drinking water, never mind, it's a reference that we clearly did not get.
Okay. Is that what Adrian said?
Yes.